Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda and this is Confidence Mindset with Amanda. And in this video, I just want to talk quickly about what it means to be feeling it real. So first of all, the feeling it real concept is really just the idea of the emotions and joy and happiness and love and gratitude and all these feelings that you would be feeling if you had what it is that you want, the feeling of freedom and stability and security. But we get all these feelings by giving it to ourselves anyway. So when we are manifesting for something to appear in our life, from my perspective anyway, to manifest what it is that you want is to keep your thoughts on what it is that you want until you surpass that feeling of resistance, where you will be affirming for what it is that you want until you get to that place of expectancy. So that place of not even considering another outcome other than the outcome that you are desiring. And the way that you get to that feeling, which for me, from my perspective, is the feeling of the wish fulfilled, because you want to be coming from a place that you have convinced yourself so much that this is a part of your reality that you don't even consider the opposite happening. And the way that you get there is through repetition. So if you are manifesting for particular things in your life, I would have specific affirmations for these things, and I would be affirming them and persisting them until you get to that place of convincing yourself that it is real. So this for me is what Nevillegoddard meant when he says feeling of the wish fulfilled, because the only way that we can kind of get to the feeling of the wish fulfilled or feeling it real is by convincing ourselves that we have what it is that we want. And the way that we convince ourselves is, yes, we can do imaginal acts, and we can look at outside objects and put different interpretations to them, assuming that it's part of what it is that we're creating, or things like that, that we can give ourselves to feel happy within ourselves. Yes, but to understand that when we have days that we're not feeling so good, it's still part of the process and it's part of the manifestation, because we're human. And it's to not be dwelling then on those days, and to keep going then with with our assumptions and everything on what it is that we are manifesting. Because when we manifest things that we want into our reality, when we are working on our mindset and all that, that's all well and good. And I do promote that on my channel. But it's not to promote the false perception that everything is going to be 100% positive just because you're working on your self-concept and your mindset. Because when we manifest in relationships, and we manifest in money, and we manifest in things that we want to manifest to create in our life, like, I don't want to say it as a limiting belief, but there's going to be times when it's not going to be 100% positive. If you're manifesting a new relationship or something with somebody, yes, it can be great, 90% of the time, but there's still 10% of the time, or whatever, where you will be compromising with each other. You might have little disagreements in that, because we're both humans experiencing each other. And so this is how we learn and we grow. And so everything's not going to be 100% all of the time. If it is, that's great, but I am just coming from that mindset myself as well too. And so that's all that I am putting out there. I'm not putting it out there as a limiting belief, but I want to put the idea out there that it's okay to acknowledge all these things, and not to be afraid to acknowledge them, and to actually acknowledge them in such a way that it becomes a part of our authenticity as well too. So when we want to set boundaries and things like that in our reality with people, places and things, that we can do that, and we can be confident in doing that, because we know that it's all part of our manifesting reality. And so, bringing back to the point of feeling it real, I want to read out a little quote from Nevillegoddard to back up what it is that I'm saying. That if you affirm for what it is that you want to the point of convincing yourself so much that you stop affirming in such a natural way, because you are convinced that this is your reality now, and you do not even expect anything else to happen. So he says in his book, this is the collected works that I have, so I'm not actually sure which one that this is, but there's a quote in it that says, "You have nothing to do but convince yourself of the truth of that which you desire to see manifested." So how we convince ourselves of the truth of that is not really so much telling ourselves that, you know, we're happy, we're loved, or whatever it is that we're telling ourselves to experience the emotion. It's to convince ourselves of the truth of the actual desire. So if I am telling myself that I'm rich and all that, that's well and good, but how rich am I? So I want to have my specific desires as well too. So if I'm manifesting, say, €1,000,000, I want to be telling myself that I have €1,000,000 in the bank. I can't sit down and say I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich all day without having a specific amount of what rich implies, because my mind has a natural way of knowing what is rich to me, and it'll bring to me, like, anything can be rich. If you feel rich naturally, anything can be rich. So if you want a specific amount, make sure to specifically affirm for that amount to the point of convincing yourself. So that means even if you are, you know, robotically affirming or whatever it is that you are doing, that doesn't matter, because it's not, you know, you do, like, the more you affirm, the more you seep it into your brain and the more you convince yourself, and that's actually how you create then the feeling of the wish fulfilled. So that's why, for me anyway, you don't have to be in the state of feeling it to manifest, because as you convince yourself of this, even if you're not feeling it, you're in the wish fulfilled once you convince yourself, if you get what I mean. And so anyway, so he says that, and then he says, as soon as you succeed in convincing yourself of the reality of the state sought, which is the state of feeling whatever it is that you want to feel, like a millionaire or rich or prosperous or whatever it is, excuse me, results will follow to confirm your fixed belief. So the results always follow. Um, from my experience, this has actually been from my experience where I'm going to say all manifestations, but a lot of the manifestations showed up in my reality in a way that it took me a second to even realize it was what I was affirming for, if you get what I mean. So it's something, would show up, and then after a while I would realize that, oh, you know, like, you know, that was something that I was affirming for. Or like, it would take me a minute, like I was affirming for example, I think I mentioned the other day, a pink car. And I was affirming to see it because I wanted to see a pink car. Now, in my mind, I actually thought I was going to see it as a toy car or something like that. But I was going up to the supermarket getting groceries or whatever. There was a petrol station beside the supermarket, and there was a big sign that I had noticed first that it was pink. That was the first thing that came to my mind, and then it was a second then afterwards I realized car was written, so CAR was written in pink, in big black, in big pink letters. It was just car wash and valet or whatever. But it took me a second to realize that, oh, there's a pink car. Yeah, if you get what I mean, it's be that natural. And then I thought to myself, well, that would have happened anyway. But however, I was led to that kind of area where I wear a pink car, like the letter, I know it's the word pink car, but however, I was still led to that area, and I only noticed it because I had been affirming pink car, pink car, pink car, if you get what I mean. Now, that's just a little example. It's not, you know, it's just a little example, but you get the idea. So then he says, you never suggest to another the state you, yeah, so if you, this is good if you're manifesting specific person or whatever, or other people, you never suggest to another the state which you desire to see him express. So you don't actually say it verbally. Instead, you convince yourself that he is already that which you desire him to be. So you just convince yourself. So if you're manifesting an SP, or you're manifesting, SP can be anybody, you know, relationship or friendship or family or whatever it is, convince yourself of the new identity of them in your mind. So even in quantum physics, this is the same thing. So in quantum physics, it is said that our observation is actually what conforms our reality. So when, let's say, for example, I'm going to use the example of an interview, right? And if you are somebody who is an interviewer, if you watch a person coming in for the interview, and you will notice their body behaviors. Now, they will shift and change in accordance to how the person is viewing them. So let's say, for example, there's a person beside you who is more of an authority figure, and you watch that person interviewing them, you will see that the interviewee is sitting there, and they may be now a little bit anxious or a little bit more uncomfortable. But then let's say they come to you and you're interviewing them as well too, you're on the panel, but you're more calm in your approach. You will notice that they will actually, how you view them, then you see you're looking out, but you're more calm in your approach as looking out. in the way that you are observing them, because you're not as authoritatively as the person beside you who is seeing things in a more authoritative way, but you're seeing you have more of an empathy kind of way, more compassion, and so you're relaxed a little bit more in the way that you look at the person, and because of that, that person's behaviors will change into a more relaxed mode as well too, to kind of reflect what it is that you are thinking in your mind, if that makes sense. So I just wanted to bring up that idea of feeling it real. It's really all about it's really all about just convincing yourself to the point of not expecting any other outcome but the one that you are affirming for. And so when anyone is kind of I know you can get into imaginal acts and visualizations, and it can feel that when you are raising your emotions and that is scientifically proven as well, when you raise your emotions in an elevated way through joy and gratitude and love and blissful feelings and things like that, that it is easier to kind of manifest in a sense as well. But it's when you come out of those feelings as well too, you want to be kind of continuing with your affirmations in a way that you are convincing yourself of this thing as real. And the only way that you can do that is to use repetition. Even if it's robotic affirming, the more advanced that you get in, from my own experience anyway, the more advanced that you get in mindset work and things like that, you will notice the difference of convincing yourself of something. When you get a little feeling of resistance, you will know that that's all it is, because you just have to get over that little bit of affirming, which means you can robotically affirm for a few hours and it'll subside, or a couple of days, whatever it is. But if you're less advanced in your mindset work, it'll cause you to waver. So let's say you're not working in your mindset as much, when I say that, I mean that you're feeling a little low in confidence and things like that, and confidence in your manifesting ability, and say you start to affirm for something and you feel a little resistance, you will put that down to having resistance to the actual desire, even though you don't. But because of the way your body is feeling, it'll cause you to waver a little bit. Now look, at this is just from my own experience and what I'm trying to kind of break down, just so you can differentiate the two. But it's to know that that's only because, like, when you waver a little bit, it's just because of you're feeling a little less confident in your ability. When you feel resistance and you're not wavering as much, but you're still feeling the resistance, but you know that the resistance is just because you have to keep telling yourself this until you are convinced of it, because you're changing the new neural pathways in your brain. You will keep going and you won't waver as much. And so that is kind of why I wanted to do the challenge of not checking 3D, and to understand that, just to keep going in your mind, because the more you get past that, the easier it becomes. And as you continue to do that, you grow more confident. Even if you don't see your manifestation straight away, you will grow more confident in it, because you're keeping awareness on your thoughts, and you're also keeping awareness on your emotions as well too. And once you do this for a few days, you start to build confidence in yourself. You feel the confidence coming up within. It's like a little kind of a power. This is from my own experience anyway, and what I believe to be true if you keep your mind directly on something for a few days. And that's why I wanted to start the challenge of this for a week, because it is reflected back even on Emmett Fox, was that his name, about the 7-day mental diet. And he says the same: if you keep your thoughts positive for 7 days, you will start to see the difference as well too. So after a few days of keeping your thoughts directly on what it is that you want, you change that dynamic, you change that neural pathway in your brain, and your brain is becoming used to the habit of it. And then once you get past that kind of habit, it's more easier to keep going with everything that you are affirming for. So I just wanted to make that quick video, and I will chat to you soon.